Today we're looking at notes D-2, difference quotients. So remember that difference really means subtract and quotient really means divide. So today you'll be given a function, an outline for the difference quotient, and a restriction for the denominator like this. F of x equals 5x minus x squared, comma, find f of 5 plus h minus f of 5 over h, where h cannot equal 0 because that would create 0 in the denominator. Okay, so your plan of attack for these difference quotients will be step 1, find each half of the numerator. So find f of 5 plus h and find f of 5 in this case. Then set up your difference quotient. So take what you get from this, put it here, take what you get from this, put it here, and plug h in there. That's called your definition line. Step 3 would be to clean up, things like collect like terms, etc. All right, so for number 1, we're actually going to use this exact problem. All right, so let's follow step 1, our plan. Find each half of the numerator. So first I want to find f of 5 plus h. So f of 5 plus h. So where I see x, I'm going to plug in 5 plus h. So 5 plus h here minus 5 plus h squared. Okay, so f of 5 plus h equals 25 plus 5h minus, okay, recall that this really means you have 5 plus h times 5 plus h. Okay, so we're going to have to FOIL. So f of 5 plus h equals 25 plus 5h minus, when I FOIL, I would get 25 plus 10h plus h squared after I FOIL. Okay, now I need to distribute that negative through, okay, which would mean I'd get f of 5 plus h equals 25 plus 5h minus 25 minus 10h minus h squared. So let's clean this up. So f of 5 plus h equals, okay, our 25s are going to cancel. I have one positive, one negative. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the negative h squared in the front. And then when I combine these two, 5h and negative 10h, I'd get negative 5h. So this right here is my expression that I'm going to plug in where I see f of 5 plus h in my difference quotient. Okay, now I need to come over here and find f of 5. So f of 5 equals 5 times 5 minus 5 squared. Okay, so f of 5 equals 25 minus 5 squared is also 25. So f of 5 equals 0. So 0 is what I'm going to plug in right here. All right, so I have done step 1. I have found each half of the numerator. I know what f of 5 plus h is. I know what f of 5 is. Now I'm going to set it up. I'm going to do my definition line. Okay, definition line. Oops, help if I spell line correctly. Okay, so I'm going to take negative h squared minus 5h and subtract 0 over h. Okay, so now there's nothing I can clean up here to like collect like terms, nothing else. I just notice as I'm rewriting this that I have two things here. I have a lead negative and I have a GCF of h. So you should factor that out. So negative h can come out of both terms here. So that will leave you with h plus 5, okay, over h, which helps us out because as I clean up, I notice my h's here and here will cancel. So then I have negative quantity h plus 5 now over 1, which really again isn't necessary. So I have cleaned up, and that's my final answer. Okay, so let's practice one more. Number 2. So f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 7. Find f of x plus h minus f of x all divided by h, where h cannot equal 0. Okay, so again, following our plan, our steps, let's find f of x plus h first. So plug in x plus h anywhere I see x in my f of x equation. All right, so f of x plus h, I know that this means FOIL, so that's going to become x squared plus 2xh or hx, doesn't matter, okay? And then plus h squared. And then when I distribute minus 4x minus 4h, drag down the plus 7. So f of x plus h, I'm looking at it here and I don't see anything I can combine. So I'm not even going to write it again in any particular order because that seems like a lot of extra writing. Nothing could combine, so I'm just going to circle this. That's my expression that I'm going to plug in to my difference quotient. All right, now I'm going to find f of x. Well, hey, that's not hard, is it? F of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 7. So this here, this trinomial represents my expression that I'm going to plug in there for the difference quotient. Okay, so let's set up that definition line. So I would have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 4x minus 4h plus 7 minus, because you have 3 terms here that you're plugging in for f of x, you need those parentheses when you plug in because that minus will distribute to all. So x squared minus 4x plus 7 all over, there goes my paper, all over h. Okay, in order to save a little bit of time and space, when I distribute this, negative, I'm just going to write what I get above it. So negative x squared plus 4x minus 7. So that's gone. Okay, now let's look at what combines here. So I notice I have an x squared and a negative x squared. Okay, I notice I have a negative 4x and a positive 4x. And I notice that I have a plus 7 and a minus 7. So then what happens is I'm left with 2xh plus h squared minus 4h. Okay, all over h. Another thing I notice as I'm looking to clean up here, my last step, I notice that all 3 terms in the numerator have an h. That means I can factor out a GCF of h. Okay, so this would become 2x plus h minus 4 all over h. And now I'm able to cancel these h's and say that my final answer is 2x plus h minus 4. That's as far as I can clean up.